I'm Julie Gammack, and this is Deb Engle. And Deb Engle and I have been friends for decades. Deb is the executive director of Story Summit. And I got to tell you, Deb, every single person I have met that's affiliated with Story Summit, I just love. They're just wonderful people, very accomplished. Many of them, of course, it's a broad cross section of skill sets, which we both have in both of our communities. But there's so much synergy between us, and I'm having a blast working with Dana Kennedy, teaching the Substack class.
Isn't she great? Oh my
Um,
gosh, she's
yeah,
fabulous. Yeah.
but Deb and I cooked up an idea yesterday that we think is a huge win-win for anyone who has thought about writing a novel. And with that, Deb, why don't you talk about the debut novel course coming up? And then should we tell what the big surprise is now, or should we wait until after?
Why don't we go ahead and tell them now? Yeah.
Okay, so what Deb and I have cooked up is this makes so much sense for you as a participant. If you have a novel that you want to work with two extraordinarily successful New York Times bestselling novelists over a year's period of time, and Deb will get into the details of that. Then you come to the Okoboji Writers Retreat, where you can meet. We have 5 literary agents coming this year. That's September 27th through October 1st. So we're talking about a rather large commitment of time, not an insignificant investment. But we think that if you're serious about wanting to explore getting a novel done, this makes so friggin' much sense. Excuse my language, but anyway, so we're combining for the cost of taking the 1-year program that Deb's about to explain. You not only get that 1-year program, but you also get the Okoboji Writers Retreat for no additional charge. So if you know anybody that's thought about writing a novel, this makes so much sense. So Deb, tell us about this
Okay. Yeah.
year-long program.
Yeah. I think saying that it's a freaking great deal is the perfect way to say it, actually, because it's pretty extraordinary. The course itself is just remarkable, and I'll tell you about that here in a minute. But then to combine it with the Okoboji Retreat, which, for those of you who haven't had that experience, you've got to experience the Okoboji Writers and Songwriters Retreat, because you'll be doing this for the 6th year this year, and it is an amazing experience. Yeah, it's dozens of faculty members in all different genres. It is writers who are really passionate and having fun with writing, whether it's for their family, for their career, and it's in a beautiful setting. And it is just like one family reunion every year. I mean, the energy of it is amazing. So to put these two programs together is something special. So the Write Your Debut Novel class, I want to say up front that we've designed this to be specifically for women over 40. And it's being taught by 2 women over 40. One is Julie Cantrell and one is Sadiqa Johnson. Both of them are very, very successful New York Times best-selling authors, also just remarkable women in their own right, terrific human beings. They're wives, they're mothers, they're busy, they have their own businesses in addition to the writing that they do, and they know what it means to have a story inside you and want so much to get it down on paper, but to get it down on paper in a way that works. Novel, I think, is one of the most difficult things to write, especially if you don't have some instruction, some help you, especially that first time, because, novels have to hit certain points. It's at certain stages of the story. You've got to have the right character development. You've got to have the right relationships. And so to learn from 2 women who have done multiple novels, and not just any novels, but Sadiqa, for instance, newest novel is being launched next month in February. It's called The Keeper of Lost Children. And a couple of weeks ago, the Today Show, it was featured on the Today Show because Today was doing their list of must-reads for 2026. And there was Sadiqa and The Keeper of Lost Children. And they called her one of the preeminent historical fiction writers of our
Wow.
time, which is
Wow.
true. And this is the thing that I think, it's hard to get your mind around, but this is the truth. For a whole year with this debut novel program, you can study with Sadiqa and Julie. These are not recorded lectures that you just listen to and then take notes. These are live interactive sessions where they will pay attention to you and answer your questions, and you'll have an opportunity to get together in small groups and to have special Q&A informational sessions. And they're also bringing in special guests, other novelists of renown. And so this is an entire year of really learning how to write a novel, not just kind of playing with it, not just experimenting and but actually learning how to craft a novel. So, and we've made it specifically for women over 40, because again, we just know that there are a lot of women out there who maybe are moving into that next stage of their life, who have put everybody else first for a long, long time. Everyone else has been a priority. And now it's really time for you to make yourself a priority. There's so many women who are publishing for the first time now, publishing debut novels in their 60s, for instance. Alka Joshi, the author of The Henna Artist, Bonnie Garmus, the author of Lessons in Chemistry, Delia Owens, the author of World Crawdads Sing. All of these are major, major successful novels by women who were in their 60s when they debuted those novels. So for all the women out there who may think, oh, it's too late for me, my time's passed, we just really want to say, nope, this is your time. And you get to study directly with two of the most amazing women to bring your story to life.
By the way, for those who just joined in, when Deb is talking about Julie as a best-selling New York Times author, that is definitely not me. Where she's referring to Julie Cantrell, who's just a beautiful soul and a wonderful, wonderful writer. I can't imagine ever writing a novel. But I'm so excited about this, and I'll tell you why, Deb. Because you know, I'm at a stage of life at age 75. I'm doing this stuff 100% to help people get their stories out into the world. It just feels like a more productive thing to do with my time than play mahjong. So
And we are so grateful for that. We are so grateful for that. Nothing against mahjong or other forms of
no,
entertainment, but
no.
wow, are
But
you doing an amazing, yeah.
well, thank you. I wasn't fishing, but one of the things that's troubled me about the retreat is that you just can't get everything you need to know to write a book or a novel or whatever in 2.5 days. I mean, you can get inspired and that's why I started the Okoboji Mastery Circle, so we could do online learning, which I borrowed from what I learned from Story Summit, thanks to you. But this makes so much sense to have people participate in this, and it's a relatively small group. I don't know if you're capping it at 30, but probably between, 20 to 30 people.
Yeah,
So it's
maybe a few more, but yeah, but it's small for sure. Yeah.
so people have an opportunity to, learn about character development. I've had so many people say, "Oh, I've been working on my novel for 5 years, but it wasn't until Nicole Bart told me this about character development that everything clicked." So let's skip that 5-year period
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
of trying and failing and trying and failing and not knowing how to query an agent or anything like that. Let's skip that, and let's take this 1 year and just throw yourself into it. Then come to Okoboji at the end of September, and you'll meet 5 literary agents. You'll meet 100 more people just like you who are in various stages of completing a book. You'll learn how to market it. You'll learn what you need to know to get your book out in the world. And I don't know why we didn't think of this sooner, Deb, but it's just perfect.
Yeah, I think so too. And I just know that there are, in all of us as writers and as people, there are just sort of fears about different things. What if I fail? What if I succeed? Who am I to think that I have something worthwhile to write? All of that stuff that speaks to, this kind of insecurity in all of us. And I think a lot of times we think we're the only one who feels that. It's so important to understand every writer feels that way. Even the most successful writers, Julie and Sadiqa, have both felt that way. We all have. But to let that stop us, to keep us from moving forward on something that is so meaningful and satisfying. Again, if you feel called to write a novel, if you've got a story inside you that just keeps speaking to you, if you've thought, for a month or for 20 years, I'd really like to write a novel someday, it's so easy for us to let those fears get in our way and keep us from moving forward. But I can tell you, you know, that just leads to a whole lot of frustration. I know that from my personal experience. And sometimes we just have to say, I'm going to do it. I am going to invest in myself. I'm going to believe in myself. I'm going to believe in my dream and my story. And what's the best possible path to making this come true? It is, to find the right instruction who can really
Right.
help you. And that's why this just feels like, I know this sounds very salesy, but truly, we've talked about this within Story Summit a lot. This is kind of the chance of a lifetime
Uh-huh.
to really
Yeah.
study with two women who will be there with you every step of the way.
Right.
That's a pretty amazing thing. Yeah. And then to go to Okoboji on top of
Yeah.
that. So yeah, because like you're saying, to have the agents there, we Lee and Sadiqa will be helping every writer within the class, to learn how to write a novel, make lots and lots of progress on your novel. It's very possible that by the fall, when Okoboji comes around, you could have a rough draft or a first draft or um, have it even fair, close to completion and then be able to go to Okoboji and talk about it with agents,
Yeah.
talk about it with other students, with other faculty members. It really is an incredible package to put these two things together. What are the dates of Okoboji this year, Julie?
September 27th, which is a Sunday, through October 1st. The past participants put together a hot dog roast Sunday night, sort of a potluck. Everybody brings something to share if they can, or $5 to put in the hat. And that's how we start, and then jump right into workshops and panels and everything early Monday morning. The songwriters have added such a wonderful dimension to the Okoboji Writers Retreat. I cannot say how incredibly impactful that has been. Well, I could go on lots of tangents, but I won't. I want you to talk about what the structure looks like for the debut novel course. When does it start? What kind of time commitment are you looking at from people?
Yeah, so it starts actually this Tuesday night, January 20th. And actually all of the details, including the syllabus, the structure, all of the information about the time commitment, how all of it will be presented, the guest instructors, all of that is, I'll give you the URL and then we'll put the URL in the email that goes out with this video. But it's storysummit.us/write your debut novel. And there's a dash in between each word in write your debut novel. So
Oh my gosh.
yeah, storysummit.us/write your debut novel. So, but we'll send that out to you. But yeah, overall, the what you'll be doing in the class is meeting with Julie and Sadiqa and the entire group twice a month, every other.
Julie Cantrell, just be sure, and while we're on this call with me, be sure and say Julie Cantrell, because I am no
Oh, I'm
novelist.
sorry. Yeah, sorry. Julie Cantrell. Yep, Julie Cantrell and Sadiqa Johnson. So they will be meeting with the whole class twice a month. And then on the alternating weeks, you will be meeting with a small group. And so every week throughout the year, you will have an opportunity to meet either with Julie Cantrell and Sadiqa or your small group. The small groups are such an essential part of this too, because this is where you get peer support. You will help each other to stay motivated, to build momentum with your writing. We've got a lot of small groups from Story Summit classes from years ago that are still meeting, even though the classes have been done for years. The small groups still meet because, um, they just bonded
Great.
in respect of this as well. So basically, every week you will be meeting, and the first quarter of the year is all about starting January 20th. That's about foundations and planning. So character development, structure and story arc, um, outlining methods, and plus there will be a guest speaker. Jean Kwok will be the guest speaker in that first quarter. She'll be talking about world building, setting, and place. Quarter
Deb,
two is building the first act. Yeah,
oh,
yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, no.
I'm sorry for interrupting, but I'm looking at this list of people on the call, and
Mhm.
there are like 4 or 5 on here that I think, "Oh my god, you've got Tanya Burt, you've got to do this." You know, oh, Catherine, wouldn't that be nice? Marie, oh my god, look at all of these people. Carolyn, yes, you should do this. Carolyn, yes, do this. Barb Leach, absolutely. Well, and then these are just the people whose names I recognize, but this is such a great idea, Deb.
Yeah.
How much time? I'm sorry I interrupted you when you were
No,
going
that's
through
okay.
this,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah,
wanted to
there's just
say
a lot
that
of
before.
detail on the site. Yeah.
Yeah. But overall, how much time are we looking at over a year's time?
Yeah, well, I mean, it is people will want to be spending several hours a week on this, both in the class time, either the class or the small group, and then obviously just your own writing time. So, you can kind of carve out how much time you want to spend into your writing every week and then figure out how that works into your day. But obviously, it's like everything, the more you bring to this, the more you're going to get out of it. So, in terms of the demands of the class itself, it's just a few hours a month. But you've got to be sure to factor in the time that you are spending sitting in front of the computer and writing.
So I don't know if
S-
anybody has a question. This is different from what we usually do on Zoom, where people can actually participate and ask questions in real time. But I think if you write something in the message box, we will get that question. Feel free to feel free to submit something, or also contact either one of us afterwards.
Yeah,
Share your email address, Deb, if somebody wants to
sure.
reach out.
Yeah, it's Deb at DeborahEngle.com. So it's DEB for Deborah at Deborah, DEBRA, Engle, ENGLE.com. Yep. And please do, yeah, just feel free to reach out.
Oh, good. Tanya said she's going to check this out. I think you'll
Great.
love it, Tanya. Honest to God,
Yeah.
you will just love it. So, well, I'm excited. I think this makes so much sense for a lot of people. Not me.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
not going to write a novel. But I, I, I met somebody not long ago who had been a computer analyst most of her career. I think that was her career. And she started writing novels based in the Chesapeake Bay, which is where we kept a boat for a long time. And she's very successful writing these novels based in the Chesapeake
mhm.
Bay. And I just stumbled upon them at a bookstore, and then had the opportunity to meet her. And I just asked her how she got started. And she looked at me and she said, "Somebody in my life had to die."
Oh,
And so in her novels, she keeps killing this one person off.
over and over.
You know, it's
Well, there are
therapy.
lots of different reasons for writing now.
Therapy comes in lots of different ways.
That's right. That's right.
And then, oh, I have one more anecdote. And then there was a woman I met in Naples who, in her 60s or 70s, and she wasn't a writer. This is what everybody says. I'm not a writer, but she went to a garage sale in Naples, and as she pulled up to the driveway, she had this just foreboding, chilling, you know, scary music kind of thoughts in the background. And she just decided to go home and start writing a novel based on those feelings she had. I mean, it was picked up by some, some Hollywood producer and turned into a series of television series and all kinds of things. So
Yeah.
don't ignore those little voices that you have.
Exactly, and that's the thing, I think inspiration comes all the time from all sorts of different unexpected sources, and you just never know. But the great thing about this program is you can come to the class with an idea for something that you want to write. You can come to the class with no idea for what you want to write because, brainstorming and getting an idea will be part of it at the very beginning. You could even take this class, if you're halfway through a novel. Or honestly, if you've written 5 novels, but you still feel like you have more to learn, this could still work for you. We do want to be clear that it's, writing your debut novel. It is for beginners. But I know a lot of people, who have written some novels but feel like, I could be doing better. I kind of skipped over a lot of the education and maybe some of the foundational parts of it. This could work for you too as well. I do want to say one thing really, really important, and that is we have a coupon code to use. If you want this combination of the debut novel program and Okaboji, which again, why wouldn't you? Because it is such an incredible package and offer. Just be sure to use a coupon code when you're checking out. So you'll go to storysummit.us/write your debut novel. Again, we'll put that in the email that goes out with this video. And as you're checking out, you'll see a space for a coupon code. That coupon code is the word Okaboji, Okoboji.
Yeah.
Very important that you put that code in there because that's how we'll know that you have signed up for the combination deal.
Okay.
And so if you don't put the code in there, you'll still be signed up for the class, but we won't know that you also are getting the Okoboji registration as well.
I'm thinking you and I need to have a conversation offline, but if somebody's already enrolled in the retreat, we need to figure out a way to get them into this. We haven't figured out the logistics of that yet, but we will. If you're listening to this and you're already enrolled in the retreat, we will make this happen for you somehow. And with that, I just think this is such a cool thing. Deb and I, we have our own, we have our own cultures, we have our own, but there's so much what's Venn diagram overlap in the two of us that we keep trying to figure out. Well, how is this gonna? How we got to keep doing things like this? And bingo, this is a perfect way to maintain some cultural autonomy, but at the same time provide you participants something of real value by the synergies that we have together. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah, I really am too. I just think it's so cool. Julie, you and I have known each other for 40 years, whatever it's been. And here we are, really doing the same thing in so many ways, just for different audiences. But we really see, there's no reason to keep those audiences separate when we can, what Story Summit has to offer, what Okoboji has to offer, just come on whatever we can to bring more value, and really help more writers get where you want to be. So
Yeah,
it's exciting.
yeah. Trying to explain y- how we're different and how we're compatible is a little tricky, but I think Story Summit, especially because of David Kirkpatrick and his background in what was his title with Paramount Pictures?
He was president of Paramount Studios.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
So
Only president.
only president. So he's a really big deal and very connected in that world and the world of Hollywood and film and all that sort of thing. We dabble in it a bit during Okoboji with Peter Hedges, who joined us last year and can't wait to come back this year. He's also teaching one of the Okoboji Mastery classes in February. But if you're serious about taking something to film, and I see Michelle Cowan is on the call, I'm I got to tell this story. Michelle was one of the first attendees when we started this 6 years ago. And she got up and introduced herself to the group and said, "I'm not a writer. I live in a small town in Iowa, but my husband was killed by a drunk driver, and I want to tell his story." She sat down. The person she sat next to looked at her and said, "I could have been that drunk driver." And that changed her paradigm about how the story she wanted to tell. Title of her book is Better Not Bitter. And that has been such an incredible example to me of why we do this. She's on a healing journey for people who may be in similar circumstances, traveling all over the country. She's plugged into Story Summit, taking a lot of Story Summit classes. She comes back to Okoboji every year, and I just love her, and we all do. And there are multiple stories like Michelle's that we could share, but I think we've been at this half an hour, and that's probably enough. Do you have anything you want to wrap up?
I don't think so. Yeah, just reach out if you have questions. We'd love to hear from you, talk it through. If you're on the fence, um, one of us know, and we would be happy to talk. So, yeah.
Just to sum up, we are announcing that Story Summit's year-long program called Write Your Debut Novel is available, and we are combining the two offerings. If you sign up for Story Summit's year-long debut novel program, you will automatically be enrolled in the Okoboji Writers Retreat at no additional charge. Ta-da!
Ta-da.
Good.
So, yep, and just remember to use the coupon code Okoboji.
Yep.
You'll be signed up for both. So,
Okay.
great. Okay.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining the call, everybody.
Yep. Thanks, everyone.